Okay, guys, this is gonna be a little bit of a different video here. This is gonna be like a discussion on disabilities like autism, ADHD, bipolar, and etc. etc. I really want to make this video, and actually, I already made it once. For some reason, the audio did not pick up my voice. I have no idea why. Hopefully this time it'll actually pick it up and I don't have to redo it a third time. But yeah, also my phone's actually at 30 something percent. Actually I think it's at 20 something now. So yeah, I'll have to make this video. I'll have to make sure it's not super long. But I do want to discuss this because this is a very serious topic, and this stuff's been kind of bothering me over time. And this video is kind of, not to really criticize people necessarily. Well, some people, like, I have some issues with my family and all that with this kind of stuff, but for the most part, it's just like, it's basically supposed to be like a tip for people, for the future and all that. And that, with autism and all that. So, yeah, I want to talk about this. I'm gonna talk about my, my personal experience with this stuff, how it's affected me even currently, because I'm dealing with some stuff, and then kind of, go from there. So, yeah. But if you guys want, before I go any further, please, if you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all that. I post stuff there and all that occasionally and all that to keep up with stuff and all that. If you guys don't want to listen to me talk about this stuff, then you guys can click out the video. But I kind of would like for people to actually stick around and actually watch the video, because this is definitely very important and kind of troublesome with me in the past and all that, and kind of how I feel like it should be handled in the future for people. So, yeah, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this. So, as I want to state this, that I'm diagnosed with bipolar, autism, ADHD. Like, I'm diagnosed with a lot of stuff. It's honestly very crazy. However, unlike other people, well, with bipolar, I think it's way more severe, but autism, it's not as severe as other people. And actually, sometimes I've done stuff in the past, even now I kind of question, like, why did I do that, which I'll get into those topics here in a few, but I've been diagnosed with a lot of this stuff. And boy, like, it has been struggling. Like, it is hard. Like, it is freaking hard. I will say, I did not have the best childhood. Like, it was not the worst. Like, there were a lot of things I liked about it. But this crap right here got in my way. Like, it got in my way and really messed some things up. For example, like, I don't know how many times I've gotten in fucking trouble because of my bipolar and autism and all that. See, at school when I was little, I mean, as I got older, it kind of more matured, but I still struggle. But when I was little, it was really bad. Like, I would get an outburst when I lose games. Like, I just wanted to play games and have fun, And, like, I would, have outbursts and all that. Even in special learning center, I kind of questioned, like, why I had them, I tried so hard to control it and all that. Even with medication, it's so hard, and all that. The problem is, though, is I couldn't control it, and I've gotten in trouble so many times because of it. I don't want to tell you how many times I've been fucking spanked, grounded, or like at school, like in kindergarten. I think I've talked about this before, like, I wouldn't have recess a lot of times because of it. It is fucking horrible. Like, it sucks. And also in grade school, I also missed a lot of field trips because, like in Cedar Hill, because of my outburst, they didn't really know what to do there and all that, so it makes me feel worse about myself. And then in, like, Callaway Hills in 4th grade, because apparently, like, I had too many outbursts, so I couldn't really go on this trip. And I tried so hard not to. It's just really hard. Like, it is very, very hard. And all that. It's very hard to deal with and all that. And, I said down here you can see, too, when I originally posted this. Or, like, I had the post. I think I made the video either that day or a little afterwards. I don't remember. I actually still have the original video up because I, wanted to remember what image I used here. Even though it says autism right here, I couldn't remember. So, yeah, I wanted to use the same image. So, yeah. But I was gonna say, I struggled so much. Even now, like, I feel like I'm struggling a lot. Like, for example, like, I feel like that this is something that I will criticize my family with. They don't think, I feel like they don't have faith in me. They don't fucking think I can do this shit on my own. Why do you think I haven't got a job yet and all that, and, like, I'm trying to get shit done? Like, that's the problem. When you got family members who are your guardians and can't, don't have trust in you, that's kind of the problem. Now, I actually had the choice of making Mama and my dad guardians. I chose to do it because, when I got out of school, I was a wreck. I was a freaking wreck. Like, I had so much problems and all that, which I'll get to that in a second, but that kind of led me to the whole, the whole thing with, dealing with, having them as my guardians. I just was not prepared for the real world. But I wanted to, be prepared for the real world as time gone. And they talked about it in the court, I was like, I don't want them to be my guardians for my entire life, just until I get medication stuff straightened out and all that. And that's what I felt like we were doing. But then they kind of start getting very controlling and all that. I want to be clear here, too. I can do a lot of shit around the house. Hell, I'm the one who cooks. I cook the food, I clean and all that. I've done all the organizing. Sure, I don't have a job, but I'm doing most of the work and all that here, and I still get criticized for stuff. It is fucking annoying. Like, it is obnoxious. Like, it is just sad. And that's the problem there, and I just hate that. And not to mention, yes, so I brought this up before, I want to bring it up again. I've been hospitalized many times in the past. And this last time, so Mama was actually part of the problem here. So I was trying to tell her I was wanting to go to the hospital because I was struggling with medication. And she was basically starting shit with me, and I got all tensed at her. I didn't hit her or anything, but she, fucking hit me first, and then I hit her back. And all that, and that caused a big outrage and all, and they had the fucking cops here coming out and all that. The cops in Missouri are not the greatest, I'm not gonna lie. There are some good cops, but a majority of them don't feel like they do their job or don't handle shit very well, which is why a lot of these towns are fucking going to hell in Missouri. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of towns are, there's the crime's going up pretty bad in Missouri. It is, because people don't know how to handle shit, and they don't want all that. But I was the one who suggested going there, and she was starting shit with me. She's like, because I, was doing this whole thing, not wanting their help. And I'm like, I do want their help, but I want to ask for it. I don't want to have them, up my ass all the time and worrying about everything, And that she took that too literally and all that, and that started a whole riot. But apparently if I do that again, so if I have some medication problems again, even though she is aware of what happens, if that happens again, I could get fucking put in jail. It is fucking horrible. I fucking hate it so much. I do, and Mama's excuses is well, people won't know, you and all that in the real world, and that's true, they won't react the same way, but I'm but still, my fucking grandma is fucking saying that shit to me, and that makes me feel worse about myself. It does. it makes me feel worse about myself, you know, and I'm just like, I'm already going through a lot of shit as it is, and I got that going on top of me. It is just annoying. Like, it is fucking abysmal to deal with this shit, you know? Another thing is, too, you know, like, I wanted to bring up the whole school thing and all that. So in school and all that, similar things I talked about when I was little and I had problems at school. Same in high school. Like, high school, I tried my best to stay out of trouble, but my fucking bipolar got into me, and then, like, I started working at this hospital. I was very pissed. Like, I was so close to quitting high school. Like, I wasn't gonna drop out, like, because I dropped out, that would affect my degree and all that, but I would have done the shit at home. And if they stepped in and tried to get it in my way, I'd be like, I don't care what you guys say, it's my fucking life, and I'm not dealing with that shit. Luckily they didn't make me stay at the hospital, but I was so fucking close just, leaving there, because I wanted to be at school the final year, where I can actually be with people. And that's the thing, though, they gave me the choice, so I'm like, I hate that. I hate when people are like that. Like, they give you the option or something, and then they turn around and, like, do this shit. I'm like, well, why the fuck are you giving me an option if you're gonna force me to go there anyway? Like, that was what pissed me off. And I tried to explain that with with Bama on it. And they're like, well, those are the rules and all that. Well, they gave me the option to do it and all that. And I don't know, I just fucking hate it. Like, I do. And like I said, there was just shit like that, throughout the entire year. And then, like towards the end of that year, the first quarter, because there's like 2 different quarters, I don't know how it is in other countries, but the way it works in Missouri is you have the first quarter, or at least where I was at. I mean, Missouri's a bigger state. I mean, it's not super big, but it's bigger than, like, Connecticut, and I think even North Dakota and South Dakota, I think it's a bit bigger. I think North Dakota and South Dakota are, like, longer states, but they're, like, not as, big. But for like, where I was at and all, the way the quarters worked is they would have, like, the quarters from, like, August, like, the end of August, all the way till December. Well, a lot of times they would start school actually in September because it was so close to the end of August. But most of the time they would start it, around August. But there were some school years where we didn't start until, September. But, we started school before that, but they had to, like, get everybody into school and adjusted and all that. So they didn't really start, like, actual teaching until afterwards. But, like, we had this first quarter and all that, and then a second quarter, which was after Christmas and all that, like, and basically what would happen is like, I got basically suspended from school because I was having some medical problems, so, like, I had to stay home and all that. I actually missed this class, this photo. Looking back at it, I'm not as upset about it, just because I kind of, like, go back and forth on my looks. Hell, like, I actually didn't even bother taking, a picture of myself for the yearbook. So, in, like, 2 years in high school, and then I think, high school, the two first years of high school, I wasn't even in the yearbook. I was trying to think it was middle school, but no, it's, like, 9th grade and 10th grade, I wasn't in the yearbook. Because I didn't want my picture taken, just because I was, again, going through stuff, even, afterwards. But I kind of wanted to, be involved in more stuff. So I was pissed when they, like, say, took the Stuco and all the pictures of the clubs, and they did it all in one day and all that, and I was just kind of pissed about that. I'm like, they couldn't, like, fucking CG my, like, taking me separate and CG me in there or something, I don't know, or, like, other people who missed it. I don't know, or, like, I don't think they even put my names in there. They could have put at least the names in there, like, maybe CG somebody in there might be a little hard, just because, because of that, but that's my thing, though. That's the thing, though, in school, like, I just dealt with that kind of stuff, and I had to miss things like that because of that, and that's why I was put in a freaking, an anger management class, because of that shit, and I think they tried to, like, get me out of there because they were, like, making me go to Stuco, but that was only, like, I think, like, Tuesdays, or like once a month. I don't remember. Was it Tuesdays or once a month? And I was still stuck in there, and I hated that because I'm like, it's not that I have anger problems. I have bipolar, and I've dealt with this anger management bullshit before, and the autism center and all that, and I've tried these strategies. I don't know. It's just very hard, and that's kind of the thing, though. But yeah, unfortunately, I had a lot of problems, and I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about this again. This is something that definitely bothered me. But hold on, let me get to it in a second. Okay, here it is. I've talked about her before. This is Caitlin. I think her name's Swatner or something like that. I kind of find it ironic how her last name kind of sounds like, I always thought it sounded like kind of like Swanser, like Joe Swanson or something like that. It sounded very similar. Her name's like Swatner or something like that. I think I used to call her Caitlin Swanson, I think is what but Swanser, I think is what it is. Sadly though, this is kind of the consequences of having bipolar. I've talked about this, that like in school I had like medication problems and all that, and then like in 11th grade, I was in the hallway with the principal. Like I kept having this stuff fighting back and forth with me, which I think was medical stuff, but like I ended up attacking the principal, and supposedly, she saw me in there. That's what they said. I guess I'll just believe that. And that's kind of what happened. She saw me in there, and I was never allowed to talk to her again. Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. I just know I was never allowed to see her again. And since then, I've been struggling a lot. But that's the thing, though. It shouldn't bother me because it should be past. But like, that's the problem. Like, she saw me in the hallway and do that, and I never was allowed to see her again. Like, I mean, I could still see her, but like, anytime I would try to talk to her, she would freak out and run away. And nobody did a damn thing about it. Nobody tried to talk to her or anything, like, I mean, they did finally, I think, talk to her, like, well, I had people do that, but they did it like at the, like, when all this shit got escalated too much, and, because I have bipolar, it causes, obsession. I've had that in the past, too, like, with my trees randomly dying in my yard, and I think it's an autism or a bipolar thing, I don't know, but, like, it was just so hard to let go. Even now, like, I still am upset about it. Like, I'm still upset about what happened between me and her. Like I hate what happened, Like, I hate that I no longer can talk to her. Like, and all that. And that's the problem, too, is, see, when it comes to, like, bipolar, I want to point this out, too. A part of me liked her, a part of me didn't. And that's the thing, though, like, I think it's a bipolar thing, because I actually don't really have a crush on her, but my other part of me did. It's very hard to kind of describe. I think it kind of goes with the mood swings. I've even done some research on it, and, yeah, I feel like that's kind of what it is, because what happens is my body goes in this state where, like, I have, like, these, horny moments and all that, and I just forget kind of what happens. And all that. And honestly, I want to just let her go. I do. Like, I don't want to cause any more trouble, but a part of me, though, just wants to be her friend. That's kind of how I am with a lot of people. I just want to be their friends, but I will say my horny side kind of comes into me, and I kind of forget what happens mostly afterwards. I actually lost another friend because of that. I was afraid to kind of go into town. I actually did this when I went to see Elemental with, Taylor and all that, and I started flirting with her, and what's really weird is it felt like I wasn't myself, which I think kind of goes in with the whole bipolar and autism and all that. Like, I just didn't feel like myself, so I started kind of like So I kind of started, like, just like, I wasn't feeling like myself, so I started, like, like, flirting with her and all that, and kind of just forgot, like, I kind of, forgot what happened and all that, and she took it too seriously and all that, and I no longer can talk to her either. I'm literally fucking losing friends because of this shit, and that's the problem too. I don't want to look like a creep or a crazy person. I just want to be friends with people, and I don't want this shit, And that's the problem. It just keeps coming and coming, and I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. Like, at this point right now, I don't know what to really do, and that's the problem. And that's kind of the thing. But like I said, I think it's just it's just an autism and bipolar. It is. It's just the problem. But that's kind of the problem. Like I said, when I haven't brought this up, I figured I'd bring this up too when I was little, because I was gonna talk about this anyway. I actually was very scared of needles. Like, I don't know why. I was just very sensitive with needles. I was like, just needles. But again, it's like my other part of me got, like, so worked up. So it just feels like my body is just constantly fighting with me all the time. Like, it's just fighting with me, It's very weird. I don't know if anybody else has bipolar or autism. Can you guys let me know about that? Like, do you guys have that problem too? Because, it's definitely been causing me problems. Not with just needles, but with my friends too. Like I said, it feels like it's just fighting with me, It is. And that's kind of the problem, And, I just want to clarify this. I want people to know, like, if I ever do things to hurt people, I want to clarify this. If I do things to hurt people or scare people, please forgive me. Please just forgive me for what has happened, Like, I kind of wish that, like, and I don't even say I would hurt people, but I'm like, well, I mean, hurt people, like, more so, like, emotionally and all that. Like, please just don't, because I know people out there get accused of being a predator. I don't want people to think that. Like, I don't want people to think I'm a creep and all that. Like, I want people to know that I do care, but I don't know what to do, And that's the problem. And that's kind of the whole thing with the video. That's kind of like why I'm making this video, because I want people to look at this stuff and be like, and see if people can help people in the future, maybe even myself, so that way people don't have to struggle like this, like I did growing up. Because people shouldn't be judged. They shouldn't be judged just because they have autism, bipolar, ADHD, Down syndrome. Doesn't mean they can't do shit, I don't want people to think that, Sure, there are some people that are, very high, or I guess would it be high or low function? I don't know, like where people can't do really anything, I want people to know that, that it's. I want people to know that it's okay. Just like give them a chance, And if they have problems with like flirting, I want people to know that, like, that there's only so much people can do, and I don't know. I just don't know what to do, That's kind of like the whole predator thing. I've talked about this, I think, before. Like Dan Strider and all that. Is like, yeah, I think he's definitely a predator and all that. Like he does it on purpose, but then there's people like me that kind of, I feel like, don't have control over it and do it by accident, which is one of the reasons why I don't hang out with people, because I don't want to do it. But yeah, I just feel like, again, I don't want people to think I'm doing this stuff on purpose, because I'm not. And I want people to look at this, and like I said, look at this stuff so they can help people in the future who have these problems. Because I don't want people to lose their loved ones or, anything like that because of what happened. It sucks. Like, I fucking hate it. I hate it so damn much. And I really am still broken up about losing Caitlin as a friend. Taylor, not so much. Taylor, I had some problems with. Like, I felt like when I would hang out with her, she was always like, just, like, I would talk to her and she was always zoning out, like she wasn't there. She honestly kind of reminded me of my mom's friend Angie, which I fucking hate. I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm like, instead of like talking or like just fucking zoning out, it's just kind of annoying. I mean, maybe some people can't help it, but it's still kind of annoying, But with her, I feel like Caitlyn, with that could work out. It could have worked out so much better if that shit didn't happen. I just hope maybe in the future we could be friends again, but I doubt that's gonna happen, unfortunately, and I mean, I want it to, I do, but I don't think it's going to, like, because, I've tried talking to her, trying to explain what happened and all that. I mean, I guess I did give her a somebody did give her a letter, which she responded, but I don't know, I don't know, I would love to, like I said, I would love for her to, like me again, like, but I don't want to date her, like I said, that's more of the bipolar thing, I think, is what that is. And actually, I think I kind of flirt with everybody I've noticed, like, flirt with, it's just kind of a thing that, like, I know, I'm definitely going to be talking to a therapist. I go to see a therapist. I definitely want to talk more about this stuff because this stuff is definitely concerning, And instead of letting it bother me, I do want to talk to people that, help with that. But that's the problem, too. Like, because, people don't know much about bipolar and autism. It's the problem. It's the problem. People don't know how to handle it either, That's why my childhood was so rough, because of that. And that's why, again, I want people to, that, not all this stuff people mean to do, I'm not saying people don't do action on purpose, Like, there are predators out there, there are people that are violent, but then there are people like us, who have problems, Even Jenny, she's got Down syndrome, she's one of my friends, she's got Down syndrome. She has problems too, and sometimes she says things she doesn't mean to say. But, we're still friends and all that, and that's what I want. I want people to look at this, that people like this don't always mean there are problems, Or just because you've had bad experiences with somebody else in the past doesn't mean that everybody's like this. It's just some people struggle more with others, like I do. But yeah, I just want you guys to look at this video and just to, like, in the future. Like, again, I know I'm not criticizing people. I was really only criticizing my family and the shit at school that happened, how they reacted to some of this stuff. But for the most part, I feel like people, like, in general, like, I'm not criticizing most people. I'm just like, I just feel like, I think you guys gotta, I don't know how to say it. Like, I just want to say, like, I'm not criticizing people like that. I'm just like, I just wish people would learn more about this stuff. But again, I know it's hard. Like, I know it's hard to do that, because, people are trying to study this stuff. But I'm just like, that's the problem. I feel like things are just not going to get much better with this stuff going on. But that said, though, I'm actually going to be letting things go from here. Hopefully this time this video will actually work. And my phone, like you guys saw, was at 15%. I like how this phone, unlike the other one, actually has actually makes sound when it gets low. I'm not even being sarcastic because I was recording and it was doing that. I'm actually serious because that actually helps me know when it's actually gonna die easier, But I need to get around to fixing my other phone, but I don't have anybody else. Like, freaking nobody knows how to, deal with technology anymore, so that's just a problem there, but yeah. But this is kind of, this video will probably go in, tips and tricks and all that, or whatever that video is, because I feel like this is definitely an important video, and I would think that this stuff should be probably taught in school, like in high school and all that. Like, honestly, if it were up to me, I probably would get rid of, PE, music, and art, and make those kind of optional. Like, you can do those maybe as clubs or something. You could say, well, kids need their exercise and all that, but I'm like, I mean, that's the thing, they can still do that stuff, and technically they're getting exercise, if they have to walk to class and all that, or heck, they can get exercise at home, too, like, I don't think PE needs to be a requirement, but, I don't know, but yeah, I would say definitely I probably would replace that with this stuff, as classes, but, that's just me. I mean, it could keep the other stuff in there, but that make the school days kind of long, so. And kids already around here are already getting out pretty late, so. Yeah, I think they're getting out at 4 now, not 3. They used to get out at 3, but then they changed it, so I guess the big kids could sleep in more and all that, which makes kind of sense, but then, like, I don't know, I'm just, like, I guess maybe so the bigger kids can, like, watch the little kids. I don't know, it's very confusing, but they actually did that when I was in my senior year. That was the first year they did that, but, I don't know, but I don't know, I'm gonna go ahead and let things go from here before my video dies on me, so, talk to you guys later. I went to the wrong one here. Anywho, bye-bye.